Okay, so you want to see what I'm doing at the old Bronstead? Well, today we're going to take a walk through my day as I do baseboards and a little bit of painting and caulking and that type of stuff. So let's go. Okay, as you can see behind me, I've got 8 pieces of baseboard that I painted this morning. I didn't want to trouble you with the act of painting. It's kind of just spray painting. As you can see in here, I've got kind of a makeshift booth that I made of tarp material that I purchased on long ago. But I want to show you some of my equipment. I'll start walking over here now. This is my paint setup that I have here. It's an old Campbell Housefield sprayer, which is probably about 25 years old. And just finished cleaning up after my paint, which is over there. I ran that soapy water through my paint sprayer because I plan to spray again tomorrow. So let's talk about the wood for a second, because the wood baseboard is kind of important. This is the baseboard that I decided to purchase. As you notice, it's fairly narrow on top. I'd say about 3/8 of an inch. It's got some interesting relief pattern. And then at the bottom, it's about 5/8 of an inch. So from the end, walk that way, you're going to see that. Now, I purchased roughly 800 feet. Could have gotten MDF. Could have gotten hemlock, which is really expensive. I chose to go in the middle, which is the spliced boards together, which is called finger jointing. As you can see right here, you can see the finger joint. And then about 6 inches later, see another one. 6 inches later, see another one. The reason why I chose the finger joint over the MDF is because MDF, if it gets any moisture, will have a tendency to swell. And the price difference between the MDF and the finger jointed material was about 30% more. So I decided to bite the bullet and pay that $2 a foot for this material. I want to make mention that this material for the baseboard is not perfect. If you take a careful look, after my first spray, you can still see the joint, which basically means that their sanding of this material doesn't take out that joint line. There are also imperfections in the material. And as we go on, we'll see more. All those things I would have to overcome when painting. And sometimes it just means I just spray paint it and take my finger, wipe it into the line or groove or whatever it is in order to get paint inside there. Here's an example where I didn't do that. Okay, so we're going to go and start on that installation part of it now, of what I'm doing during the day. Here's where I make most of that work happen. As you can see behind me, let's go here. Baseboard, we need some sort of a saw. I have an older chop saw which works quite well. And then over, you saw my smoker. See my air compressor right there? That's the other part of it. It makes this life a whole lot easier too. These are the tools of the day for installing the baseboard. I want to make a special note that part of keeping your equipment lubricated is to put 10 drops of the lubricant inside the pinner. The tool that I did not show in this was the stud finder. Occasionally you have a wall that's not exactly in alignment, so you want to be able to nail the top part of that baseboard to a stud in order to stop it from coming away from the wall, and then I caulk all of my joints, and it makes it look somewhat uniform. Here's one corner in the kitchen that I'm going to tackle first thing this morning before moving on to larger projects. Notice that I'm measuring that corner, and it's 10¼ inches. Notice the opposite angle is 4 3/8. Now let's go cut some wood. When measuring your baseboard, it's always important to measure from where it actually touches the wall. So on this we have an outside corner, so we're going to measure from the back side of the baseboard because that's where it touches the wall. There's always obstacles when it comes to doing projects. This one, you can see that the cabinet guy was trying to think about me, and he put his baseboard a little bit too big, so I'm going to have to alter my baseboard to slide it in. So on that piece, along with the other opposite end, I'll have to cut a notch, much like that, and slide it in. But I also want to make a special note about keeping your short pieces. I keep my short pieces, probably because of frugality. I don't like to spend more than I can, and if I have an opportunity to return any material because I bought extra, this allows me to do that. And that's what it looks like before stapling or pinning. It's not, I would say it's not perfect, but it's darn close. Okay, just pinned it. Corner looks pretty good. Now let's get to caulking that, okay? And then it'll watch all those lines disappear. Okay, so that's what the corner looks like. With the exception of that one dado on the left, it looks pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Okay, teaching moment. When caulking, you have a few different choices to use as you wipe the caulking off of the material that you have, like baseboard or siding or any wall trim. The best is over here. An old t-shirt. Second best, terry cloth rag. Third best, and sponge. And I don't recommend a sponge. And the reason why is because a sponge, as you wipe it away, will leave pieces of the sponge. Terry cloth will leave grooves. And then your old t-shirt, old underwear, whatever, will leave the finest line. You would hardly ever see it. There's your tip of the day. Okay, so you see that corner. And then basically, let's see here if I can see the rest. Start working on the rest of the corner trim. It goes around, you can see right there. And then as I go through the house, you see my other trim around the doors, the floors. Down in the hallway. Down in this hallway. And then where I stopped was in the office over there. Let's see, over there. That's better. And then the TV room.